Hello, my people. How are you doing? Oh, tinubu don't cry come out. He say make the CBN governor may they extend the deadline of collection of the old naira note. Now, waiting tinubu talk on this video. I will leave you, may you watch this video. But my question is that why are those politicians, more especially at the APC camp, why are they complaining about the deadline of this collection of this old naira note? Why are they complaining? Don't forget, one market month or today, Mr. Buba Galadima, he said one governor from the northern part of the country, he stacked over 22 billion naira of old naira note. So I think CBN and Buhari, they know what they are doing over this redesign of naira note. But I don't know why the APC governor, they are objecting this policy. So guys, I will leave you here. Watch this man and hear what he have to say. Thank you. See you again for the next post.
The presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Bola Tinubu, yesterday said he was not against the decision of the Central Bank of Nigeria to redesign the naira and the drive towards a cashless economy, contrary to insinuations. He said he was only against the disruptive implementation of the policy, but the People's Democratic Party called on the leaders of the APC, including Tinubu, as well as APC state governors, to immediately release billions of naira notes allegedly in their custody in order to halt the anguish being experienced by Nigerians. Following the advice of the Council of State, Tinubu urged the federal government and the CBN to announce that old notes and new notes, especially the non-withdrawn notes and coins, should coexist as legal tender for the next 12 months to follow examples of countries that successfully implemented similar monetary policies to ease tension in the country. Tinubu in a statement stated that in the past few weeks has been challenging for Nigerians, especially small and medium-scale enterprises, SMEs, the poor and the vulnerable masses, and those whose survival depend on daily cash transactions, saying they have felt the brunt of the combined problems of fuel scarcity and that of new notes. The former governor of Lagos said he felt the pains of market women artisans who experienced low sales because customers did not have cash to make purchases. A lot to talk about.
Yes, good morning, Rufai. Good morning, Doctor. Good to see you. Great to be back here on the show this morning. I was away in Maiduguri, and I wanted to bring it from that angle in terms of even going into the markets there, the impact of the scarcity of the naira notes on market women, on people, these vulnerable people that the presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has talked about. Now, it's important, and I must praise him for identifying with the sufferings of the people he's talked about as being affected by the Naira redesign policy, especially the scarcity of the new notes. SMEs, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria said that manufactured goods had seen a 25% decline in their sales from their members following the redesign. So it's not out of turn to say that these are the realities on ground. Market women and men have talked about the fact that they've had it challenging in making sales, as when there's no cash available, people would rather opt not to buy at all. So as he mentioned, rightly so, people have felt the impact. However, he's come out clearly to say that there's no contention as to the fact that they're not against the policy. What they are against is the impact and its effect on the Nigerian people, which again, I must commend. He has to speak for the Nigerian people. However, I want to focus more, because of the brevity of time, on one of his recommendations. In this statement he made that was signed by him, he made some recommendations following the Council of State's meeting on Friday, one of which is that they'd asked the CBN to ensure that they pump the market with new notes, ensure that it is available despite the challenges or shortages that have been experienced in the past few weeks and shall I say months. Now, what he mentioned in terms of embracing this opportunity to upgrade our technological infrastructure, particularly in the support of the financial system or financial space, so fintechs. This is an opportunity because we've talked, and I won't belabor the point as to the benefits of this policy and the fact that sometimes in order to get to, in quote, the promised land, there's certain hurdles and difficulties we might face. And so it's important to keep on hammering the fact that we're looking more at the benefits of this redesigned policy and that the CBN has not acted illegally. So what are the opportunities this presents for Nigerian fintech space? I noticed, and I'm sure some people might see, that from the beginning of this naira scarcity and the challenges we experienced in bank transfers, using online payment systems, there has been a reduction in that. So the banks grappled a little with it, not a lot with it at the beginning, and have been able to begin to expand their infrastructure to support this new design, because we're moving into a more cashless society. So can we begin to invest and tap into the brains and the brilliance of technology experts in Nigeria who can, use their expertise to ensure that we are able to accommodate the future of Nigeria, the future of money in Nigeria, beyond the complaints, beyond the hardships? What can we take out of this? We mustn't go through this without at least bringing out something good, something tangible. It is said that necessity is the mother of invention. We can criticize, and I'll end here, we can criticize for a very long time the fact that the CBN seemed ill-prepared to manage the outcome of this policy, but we must begin to look forward and see how we can make this work, because it is for the eventual good of Nigerians.
Dr. Batu?
Okay, over the weekend, a lot of accusations, counter-accusations over the Naira redesign policy and the pain, anguish, frustration that Nigerians are facing, with the PDP spokesperson accusing the APC leadership of hoarding the money, of trying to exchange 22.5 billion into old 1,000 Naira notes. And, the APC kicking back and saying, look, this is pure conspiracy. You don't have any evidence. And then governors, the 36 state governors, also met over the weekend and issued a communique. We also saw, a number of states, Ekiti, for example, Rivers, indicating its interest, saying they are also going to join in the suit. Kano, Ondo, drama in Kano, with the governor of Kano shutting down, giving orders that a supermarket should be shut down because that supermarket was not going to collect old notes. But out of all these reactions, the most constructive that I have seen in terms of trying to offer ideas has been the intervention by the presidential candidate of the APC. And he made it very clear in that statement that, one, he's not opposed to the policy. And I think that clarification is important. He says what he's concerned about is the disruptive nature of the implementation and the anguish that Nigerians are suffering, particularly small-scale businesses, particularly farmers, particularly, people in the rural areas. And having laid that out, he offered a number of recommendations. What are these recommendations? Number one, he says to ease the pain of the people, the CBN should do everything it can to get more of the new notes into circulation. Two, he is recommending that even when that has been done, the old notes and the new notes should be allowed to coexist till 2024 for the next 1 year, as according to him, as is done elsewhere in the world, where similar monetary policy had been applied. Three, he wants charges suspended on electronic transactions, bank transfers, on POS, as some kind of measure to incentivize the people to move towards that cashless regime that the government is talking about. Number four, he says fintechs should be involved. He qualified it. Fintechs with capacity should be mobilized into the cash swap program for a period of 90 days. And in this regard, it's just simply echoing something that had also been said by the Vice President, Professor Shimbajo, because he was only last week also talking about these fintechs, and of course, the fintech space is growing, one of the fastest growing, sectors within the economy. So it may be a good idea, to take that suggestion on board. And then, of course, he made one suggestion, which I think is something that should be carefully underlined, which is that there is a role for the National Orientation Agency and the Ministry of Information in this matter. And we've been raising concern about that National Orientation Agency. I don't even know whether that agency still exists. But if it exists, it's been playing posum. And if the measurement of how it's been playing posum can be seen in the fact that nobody seems to hear anything from the National Orientation Agency at critical moments when the people need to be sensitized. Either it is election on naira redesign. If the people in the NOA, if they have issues, they should come to the public space and say so. If they are not ready to do the work, they should be removed. And people who are serious-minded who want to, make use of that agency in line with its mandate should be appointed to the relevant positions. So, of course, the people need to be educated. Sensitization is important. And, at the end of the day, of course, the big development will be this week when the Supreme Court takes on the matter. The federal government has gone to court. The Office of the Attorney General of the Federation has filed, a preliminary objection. Other states, Kano, Ondo, Ekiti, have signaled their interest. Rivers says it will also become a joinder in the suit. And also, the governors, the Governors Forum, the Nigerian Governors Forum that met over the weekend, is also saying that all the attorneys general across the 36 states should look at how they too can be joined in the matter. There are at least other cases. There is another case that was taken to the Federal High Court in Akure by a citizen saying that, look, this cannot work. So this is where we are, but I think whatever happens, Nigerians want access to these new notes. Some people are saying government should respect the rule of law. Yes, nobody is against that. Government should respect the rule of law. But Nigerians are suffering. They don't need to suffer. And it's that disruption that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu identified and tried to provide suggestions to. That to me is far more constructive than the abusive politics, of vitriol that we witnessed over the weekend among the two, the major political parties.
Dwight Eisenhower said, a nation that values privilege over purpose will soon lose both the privilege and the purpose. Nigeria has fast become that nation that values privilege over purpose, and that's why we're losing both as we speak. We value so much the privilege of the political class that everything should fall in their hands. Our life is predominantly about the political class, not about the people. But when the political class turns around and say they care for the people, people don't believe them. Because in the first place, most of the problems with the lives of the people are caused by the political class. As regards this naira policy, it's the political class that is hoarding a lot of the cash that are causing all of these problems. It is not that the banks money have not been released to the banks, but because of connivance with the banks, they are taking the cash. And call it what it is. Because when everybody is part of the grand plot in this country, they keep quiet. Look at the POS operators, charging people an arm and a leg. These same POS operators first complained that, this will disrupt their business. But they are making a killing now, in it, and they're not talking any longer. They're charging people 3,000 naira for 10,000 naira. They're not talking any longer. Isn't it? Are they supposed to charge people that much? But these are the people that first complained. So when we keep being hypocritical in society and we expect things to change and the politicians act brand new, then I feel for the country. But I'll speak to it. The recommendations given by the APC presidential candidate, yes, some I take, some I don't take. Number one, I take the fact that the National Orientation Agency should be looked at. I have said that in this show before. Secondly, I don't take that the fact that they should run side by side the old and the new currency. We can make it within the stipulated timeline. Yes, fintech should come on board, but that's what's been done already. And sometimes when politicians talk about fintech, I hope all the money they stashed in their homes, if only they had invested it in fintech, maybe fintech would be able to use that to build architecture for the digital system. In all of this, removing charges and all of that, but the CBN is doing that already with e-naira. They're doing that with e-naira. There's no charges on e-naira. E-naira was launched last year. Only 0.5% have adopted it. People can also use that as a payment channel. We have that in place. And the banks too should take responsibility. The banks that have over the years not developed their robust digital infrastructural system, the banks that even find it difficult to pay telcos for USSD, the banks are still owing US telcos for USSD. We all remember when telcos said they were going to shut down USSD before the minister intervened. So when will the bank take responsibility? We have to go. I can't say more. I wanted to say more.